what is a neutral takeaway position? Why is a neutral takeaway so important? It's to help get a more of a neutral top of the backswing, and therefore a neutral swing path as we come into impact and hit the most consistent shots we possibly can. As golfers, there's no such thing as neutral, there's no such thing as perfect, but we can minimize the faults to a point and then give you a consistent shot shape, whether it's a draw or a fade from there. But it's important that those consistent shots are not slices or hooks. Okay, it's really important that we try and get your shot shape so it's consistent. Consistent. It's probably the most used word I ever hear in golf, and we all strive for it regardless of the standard. So we need to identify what's a neutral takeaway position. And we've already identified in these videos what initiates the takeaway. And as we come takeaway, we get the arms moving dead straight, the lower body stays nice and still. But this is not the end of the takeaway, because the end of the takeaway just finishes with a little bit of wrist hinge. Now, as we start to come back, we want to see the club head slightly higher than the hands, and also the club lead edge relatively parallel to spine angle. That's how we know that that golf club is very neutral. Also, when we're looking from here down the line, we want to make sure that the club is relatively parallel to your target line as well. Really important that we try and get this club, if it's too much on the inside, it'll point over there. If it's too steep and on the outside, it'll point left. We want to get the club itself parallel to target line, the club head higher than the hands, and the lead edge parallel to spine angle. A lot of parallel lines going on, but parallel is generally very, very neutral. So, like I said, we've already initiated how to do the takeaway using the left arm and left shoulder, keeping the lower body very stable and the thighs quite solid as a very good drill. And we get to there. My hands have now started to hinge, and the club head is parallel to my spine angle. Talking now about identifying what is not neutral, and we're going to start with steep. I have very good knowledge of a steep takeaway because I do kind of get there myself, or have been there myself in the past. But talking about a steep takeaway, we generally see that sort of angle from a golfer as they start to go back. And just to slow that down, if we're looking solely at the left arm position, it starts to move away from the body, so we get a very big disconnection between arms and thighs. Okay, also we get a lot of wrist hinge. Now look how vertical that shaft is. Okay, that is going to go up to the top of the backswing. It can get very laid off, or if you obviously rotate too much, it can get very much across the line. A lot can obviously happen after takeaway, but we find it really important that if we can take the club away from the ball in a neutral, tiny bit flat, tiny bit steep, not a problem, position, then we can produce a better top of the backswing. Therefore, we're able to produce straighter downswing and obviously then a better golf shot as well. So just as we start to take this club away, we'll see a lot of golfers hinge early. Club now is way on the outside of where the ball is. And when we see the club on the outside of the ball, that's what it is in relation. As you're looking down the line, the club head's over here. Also, the hands have made their way towards the ball. My left arm is very disconnected, and we start to get very high. This can cause a very big chopping action to the ball, a very steep angle of attack. Steep angle of attack is a whole new ball game. We can slice it and we can pull it. We can do all sorts of different shots. Obviously, from this section, there's a lot that can go on. You can not rotate at all, or you can rotate too much. And again, like I say, a lot of different outcomes. We want to reduce all the negative outcomes that can happen in the golf swing. Let's stop this position and let's understand why it's bad. It can cause too steep a shot, too steep an angle of attack, and therefore produce inconsistent golf shots. We're talking today about what is too flat for a backswing. I think this is probably one of the most common faults in golfers that I personally teach, and we teach here at Improve My Golf. A lot of golfers go here, and we need to figure out today why they go there and how they get there. The how they get there is the most important way of figuring out how we can stop it. Okay, So when we take the setup, we see a lot of hip turn, a lot of shoulder turn, and a lot of wrist hinge. Now, so a lot of wrist rotation, I should say. That's extreme, okay? Not many golfers are in such an extreme position. We want them to kind of come back a lot straighter. If we see golfers rotate too much with the hips, we can see how low the club stays to the ground and how much around the body it goes. If someone doesn't use the hips but they use a lot of hands, again, we can see how low the club is. You can also see that it's almost parallel to the ground, and the club face is also very, very open. Also, if you look at your left arm as well, this is another way of going too flat. Left arm gets too tight. We always talk about staying connected in the golf swing. A lot of golfers want to be connected during the golf swing, but they don't need to be connected. Okay, so if you're one of these golfers that gets the arms here, or the hands roll, or the hips turn, or all three, you really need to go back and check out the neutral takeaway video, because that is going to be hugely important to helping improve your swing path and therefore the golf swing.